Okay, Stacy Donohue, what are you doing right now for Omidyar?
I am an investment partner focused on the U.S. Civic Tech portfolio of our governance and citizen engagement initiative.
So what does civic tech mean? What does that concept mean at this point?
So everyone has a slightly different definition, but for Omidyar Network, our definition is pretty broad, and it really means any technology that helps enhance the relationship between residents and government, both to empower residents, to give them a voice, and also to help facilitate more fair, effective, and efficient government service delivery.
So what are some examples of civic technologies that you've invested in that have had those kinds of outcomes?
Sure. So there are different types. Some are platforms that connect citizens to each other, and change.org would be a great example of that. Others are platforms that connect citizens to government, and SeeClickFix would be a great example of that. And then Nation Builder is another example that actually does both types of things. It's a platform that can manage relationships and constituencies, whether they're political, enterprise, or nonprofit.
So some venture capitalists might invest in something and then expect a return in terms of, well, an exit, either an acquisition or maybe it goes public. These are businesses. What kind of return do you look at in terms of a VC for these places? Do you expect them to have those kinds of exits, or is it just about social impact, or is it something in between?
So we're a philanthropic investment firm, so for us, social impact is the #1 criterion, and everything we invest in, we believe will have massive social impact. So that's first. And then second, we do investing across a wide spectrum of everything from actually just making grants, where you never get any dollars back, to making commercial equity investments where you expect a commercial return that's in line with that of other venture investors. And so what we feel is important is to identify in advance, what we expect the returns to be, so that we're being wise about the way we make our investments. But social impact for us is very much the driver of everything we do in civic tech and beyond.
To dig into that, how do you measure impact?
So we think about kind of 3 dimensions of impact, which are reach, engagement, and influence. And how you measure it obviously differs for every company you invest in, but we're looking for solutions and platforms that have the potential to touch millions of lives. We're looking for platforms that not only are touching people's lives, but actually enabling them to engage in some way. And then we're looking for influence, by which I mean the ability for an organization to actually make sustained change in the world.
So in some ways, all the things you describe are somewhat neutral, right? There's social impact going in lots of different directions. When you think about how these platforms can be used, do you think about positive or negative outcomes or what those outcomes should be, or do you kind of let that be up to the users of them?
Well, we definitely have a very bottoms-up philosophy in most of the things we invest in. So we try not to be prescriptive about what the outcomes are. We're inspired by Pierre Omidyar, who was our founder, who was the founder of eBay. And when Pierre created eBay, he wasn't anticipating any particular outcome. He was writing a piece of code that let strangers trust each other online. And so we have a very similar ethos in the work we do at Omidyar Network, which is around investing in platforms. We also have a belief that people are inherently good, and that platforms can be used to connect people to one another around shared interests.
So let's say some of these investments bear fruit. In 10 years, how will the world have ideally changed as a result?
In an ideal world, and I don't think it's going to happen in 10 years, just to be clear, but in the long view, as I was saying earlier today, what we'd like to see is people feeling empowered, having a voice, feeling like their voice makes a difference in the way government interacts with them. And we also want to see better, more efficient, more effective government service delivery that's in line with citizen expectations in a digital age.
It's a big hope. See where we end up in 10 years, or
Absolutely.
20 or 30. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.